Yeah, money is one tool that you need to fulfill purpose. God is not going to love you tomorrow better than He loves you today.
Already, yeah. I have my lovely sister here with me, Moral from Mosbury. Well, welcome to everyone out there. My name is Tayiwa from Tayiwa's Corner, where faith meets everyday living. And we are here for our very first podcast on the life audit. Moral, say hi.
Hi everyone, I'm so glad to be here, so delighted. I can't wait to see what we're going to talk about and how we can all benefit from this talk.
Right, so yeah, thank you very much, Moral. So as I said, this is a podcast on the life audit. So I'll just talk a little bit, just briefly, about what the life audit is all about. I did a series at the beginning of this year titled the Life Audit Series, where I covered the three aspects of the life audit, which involves the mind, the soul, and the body. And what a pleasure we have Mara here. She's a finance expert, and what better way for us to talk about life audits and lifestyle and basic everyday things without finance involved, right?
Yeah.
So as we go into that, I've already talked about what the life audit is. I also want to talk about the life audit sheet, which you can find a link for. It's here on my page. Just download it, try and go through it and fill it as clearly as you can. So we're just going to dive in right now, basically. First of all, we'll start with the mind. So Moral, I know you've gotten this question on your page. You have talked about different aspects about how your finances can affect your mind. So can you speak a little bit on that just for our viewers today to hear?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is a regular question and a very important one, I must say. So the mind is where everything starts, basically. If you remember in Proverbs 23, I think verse 7, it says, as a man thinketh in his mind, that's how he is.
Exactly.
Right? So your thoughts generate from your mind. It's the custodian of all those thoughts that you have. And then when you tell yourself something, you cultivate that thing and you eventually get that thing manifested. Right? So your finances, if you say to yourself that, I can't really make it. You start giving yourself excuses like, I'm from a poor background. I don't have any mentor. I'm a woman, and all those things. I get that question a lot from women. They don't really want to talk about money. I must say, money affects every aspect of our lives, and money shouldn't be seen as something evil. It's a tool to fulfill purpose.
Definitely.
How do you multiply? How do you dominate if you don't have the resources that works on this earth?
Exactly.
Right? And money is that tool that you need. So money itself is not bad. It's when you now make money like your God or something. That's when
it becomes an issue.
Becomes evil.
Yeah.
So money affects your purpose, affects what you're doing here on earth, affects what God has put in your mind to do. So like you said, we're starting with the mind, and the mind is very important because you need to tell yourself, you need to, self-therapy or something like that. You talk to you can lie to every other person,
but you cannot lie to
yourself. Right? Your mind is where these things start. There's this book by Joyce Meyer, Battlefield of the Mind. That book changed my life. I was going through I'm taking us a bit off. I was going through some difficult time in my life. When I read that book, I realized that I have the power, because the truth is, God has done his part, right? He has come, he has died, he has loved us, even when we're in sin.
Definitely.
Yeah. So there's no dosage of love. Okay, I have God's love 50% today. Tomorrow, when I do something good, I'll get 100%. He has already loved us. So it's on our own part to do our own part and get that fulfillment, that purpose that God has sent us on earth to do.
Yeah. So I'm so glad you mentioned women, because you and I obviously are women, and we're from the north. So we know how women are marginalized, and that marginalization further affects mentality, capacity. It internalizes, and it affects how in terms of like finance now, for instance, because we're focusing a little bit on finance today when we're talking about the mind.
Yeah.
And oftentimes you find that I have to use the example of the North, like I said, because that's where we're from, and we have experienced that from around us, our background. Women often have this mindset that, once you just get married, just find, from your parents' house, you move to husband's house, and all you're just going to do is stay and not do anything, not think about how to make it on your own, right? So Maura, you being a finance expert, I really want you to touch on this. Let's say some of our viewers, and just imagining, are women who have been told you don't need to work, you don't need to make money, just find someone to take care of you, that sort of thing. But internally they're thinking, I want to do something of my own, I want to make something of myself. If you can just give us maybe like 2 tips, like 1 or 2 tips on how, just share with anyone listening.
So I get asked that question as well. And I get this body language from some women, even though, the narrative is changing. But there's nothing wrong with you just wanting to support your husband 100%. I'm all for that. You guys have become one unit. So you should function as a unit. But every individual that God has placed on this earth has a purpose.
Definitely.
So it has an expected end, right? From the day you were conceived, from the day you entered this world, God has placed in you something that will fulfill that purpose why you came to this world, right? And like I said earlier, money is one tool that you need to fulfill purpose. So say to yourself, because you are a woman doesn't mean that you cannot make money, or you cannot have your finances on track, or you cannot have a financial goal, or all of that. Let me ask you a question. If you're a woman, right? When you were in school, when you were writing your exams, I want to know, were you given an inferior exam question paper than the male candidates?
Absolutely not.
When you were going through your degree or your master's or whatever it is that you attained, when you were doing that, did they say, okay, for the male, their question is going to be harder.
Different,
For the women, people are the sex, so stay here. You're not going to.
That never happened.
Absolutely.
Never happened.
We all got the same questions. We all got the same training.
And some of us excelled more than the men, right?
Absolutely. So you have it in you. You have it in you to excel. Women are blessed. Women have so much capacity to do so much more than a lot of us think we can. So if we tell ourselves that we can do it, then we can do it. Start by defining what it is that you want to achieve. What is that financial goal of yours that you want to do? You want to support your husband's business? You want to start your own business? Have an amount, whatever it is that you want to start working towards.
Talking about budgeting, right?
Number 2, that's even just defining the financial goal, what it is that you want to achieve. Then another very, very important tool is budgeting. Budgeting cannot be overemphasized. See, if you don't know where your money is going to, you will not
arrive at your destination.
You will not, so look at it as your financial GPS, So let's say we're in Asokoro now and you're heading towards Wuse and you don't know the way to Wuse. Please tell me, how will you get to Wuse? So look at budgeting as that financial GPS that tells you where you're going to. It helps you identify where you need to cut all those things you do not need. It helps you align your goals to that thing that you want to achieve. I assure you that it's something that you can do, and don't listen to anyone who tells you that you cannot achieve it. That's not true. God has placed in us something, and we can achieve that thing if we start working on it.
Thank you very much, Maura. Thank you. We can achieve anything. That's a very important conclusion to that section about the mind. You can achieve anything as long as you put your mind to it, you put focus to it, and of course backing by God Nothing is
I mean,
impossible.
once God is in your case,
you're settled. And once God is for you, no one can be against you. We all know that.
Absolutely.
And I'm so glad Moral talked about how, that point you made is actually something we don't really reflect on that, do we? We just, you and a guy, we all went to school at some point, even if you went to an all boys or all girls school at some point,
time,
at university or nursery or whatever, you must have been in the same class with a male or a male female combined, and there was never a time it was said, oh, boys, these are your questions, girls, these are your questions. So why do we always feel
that when it comes to finances, the men are the only ones that know how to make money?
I'm not so sure about this, but I've heard it several times that women have the capacity to multitask.
Absolutely. It has been proven scientifically.
It has. That I cannot point to one study, but I know this is true. We have that capacity to multitask and that is very, very helpful when it comes to business.
Absolutely.
A woman, you can have a business and still have a career. You can run a family, like you do. I mean, you have it all figured. You run a business, right?
I mean, we don't all have figured out.
Of course.
But it's something that is achievable.
Yes, it's
something that you can work on continuously. So every day we try to be a better version of who we were yesterday. I mean, that's the point, right?
Definitely.
But you have the ability to do that. You might not get it 100%, and you need support most of the time. But it's something that you can do it, and never for one put it in your mind that you cannot do it. Nobody should tell you that. You shouldn't accept it. God has given you the ability to do it. Just rely on Him. Have a very strong support system. And I tell you, you'll be amazed what you can achieve.
Thank you very much, Moral, on that. Thank you again for all your points. And as a way of conclusion, as you said earlier on, you can achieve anything you put your mind to. So now we're just going to go into the next section, which is about the soul.